I want to start with a talking point from Irene Sharda and Verkins, who gave me an idea for something to talk about. So we'll get into that momentarily. But before I even hop in, how y'all boys doing?
I'm good.
I'm trying to learn sign language.
Oh wait, no, I think I knew that. How's that going though? Is that hard? Jutsus? You doing jutsus?
It's not super hard, but I was a fool and I took this during the summer course. And I have to stuff all this knowledge
He said I gotta
in four
learn.
weeks.
I gotta study.
Yeah, that's not me. Normally I just work off talent. Tell me I gotta work hard now.
Shoot,
Stinks.
I feel it.
A little something like eeny, meeny, right from the beginning. Smoke a little pack, but the pack never timid. Church, but I'm seeing it. Curse when I'm winning. She need a new back. When it's back, I'ma bend it. Slap up some guinea, pass me the hen it. Watch a nigga black slipper yak, I'ma quit it. Swerve in the Benzie, perfume is Fendi. Bob and move fast, real fast like I'm Ricky. That's 'cause I'm pretty, came from the dirt. Shovel up a nigga, can't handle the work. Ooh, yeah, swing with it first. Young white girl like a Rambo.
Say hi to YouTube. This will be on YouTube later. And
Hello.
what I want to do is talk about a talking point from Irene Sharda and Verkin. So I put a video today. Basically, for anyone who doesn't know, I secretly thought that Traumerei actually knew that that he knew that Bam's parents were V and Arlene, and for whatever reason he wasn't mentioning it, or he didn't care, he forgot. I'd seen, I think Raikumo said this, because I think Leviathan talks about his memories and stuff getting fed into him. So I thought maybe Leviathan could, in a weird way, have those memories. So maybe he discarded them. But I actually was reading your guys' comments and stuff, and over like the last 2 weeks of live reactions, and I changed my position. I actually think he has no idea who Bam, what Bam's lineage truly is. And I give actually you guys credit for that. You made me think about it a little deeper. But before I keep going, did you guys have any initial stance? Did it change? What are you guys thinking about Traumerei?
Uh,
Does he know Bam is the son of V and or Arlene?
so I guess I can just go through my thought process. Initially I thought they all knew for sure. I think it was one of those things where I was saying it it also comes down kind of to like the relationship with V and Arlene and how he's gonna go about interacting with Bam, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where like if he doesn't like V and Arlene because he feels betrayed by them because they started F.U.G. and didn't like bask in the glory of the kingdom of Jahad, it would make sense that when acknowledging Bam, he refuses to even mention his parents because he like hates them.
Okay.
So that would be a reason which he wouldn't even say their names, and it's kind of also like how you even like said like after like uh, Gustang only calls Bam son of Arlene. He doesn't mention V because he hates him.
Yeah. Okay. That's totally fair.
I will admit Irene.
Irene Sharda.
What they said was pretty convincing when I even look back, and it's like, oh yeah, Jahard was like, you have to physically see Bam to even recognize that he was alive. I think my new stance is it is probably likely that most of them don't know. However, I would find it weird that the moment they see Bam, they wouldn't be able to connect the dots based off his physical appearance alone.
I have
Because physical
okay.
appearance is such a big thing in this world.
That's a fair point. I got one pushback on that, but I want to hear Vince's thoughts first.
Okay, so yeah, I kind of reached kind of middle ground, I guess you could say. Because at first I was like you, I thought they all kind of knew.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess my problem kind of comes in. It's just like, okay, they might have known that V and Arlene had a child, but do they know that child is still alive, or do they know that Bam is directly connected to
Mm-hmm.
them? I guess is the
Okay.
to that level. So I guess that's kind of the problem, I guess. So I'm a assume that they all knew that they had a child or Arlene was pregnant, but they might have not all known that the child was all those extra details about the child dying and then being like still being alive, being resurrected. They might not all know all that.
And I'm and
So
I'm
that's kind of
sure they hid the truth that Jahad did it. It was like a miscarriage or something, like, you know. or
Or yeah, she's
in
like
an
I threw it
unfortunate.
on the
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
outside, or something. Yeah, I could definitely see them coming up with an excuse to
Mhm.
being like, yeah, Jahad did
Mhm.
this out of jealousy.
Yeah, what's up, Irene? This stream is literally sponsored by like you and Verkins because you made me think about something. You made me think about this pretty deeply today, because I actually forgot if I mentioned it, but Irene Charter brought up the point that Jahad didn't even know Bam was alive until he popped up on the hidden floor. So it's actually likely none of the family heads know except Gustang, and I say possibly Eduan, even though I'm not sure I completely remember how the hidden floor stuff works, but it's just possible
Ooh,
his
I looked
dad.
at it today.
Okay, what's up? So tell me, how does it work? Is
So
it possible the real version will know?
Jahar didn't know he was. And this is the weird thing because they're kids, so it would make sense that like they're not thinking about like what their like some future kids could potentially look like. But Jahar didn't know basically really until like way later on, like underneath like Edwan and
That's
others.
kind of
And then
explained by Jahad saying that he has to have an adverse reaction to her name and he's forgetting
yes,
stuff. So that's like a special scenario. That's why I kind of removed him from that situation. But
and
continue.
then Edwan. It's not like I don't think it's really specified. I didn't go all the way through, but I think the whole point was Edwan was told initially by Han Sung Yu anyway
Okay.
about the kid that was coming in. So it's we don't know at what point like which information like if he already knew if it's just a child prophecy and then he inferred this is the son of Arlene, or if like the son of Arlene came along with the child of prophecy that's coming in. It's kind of like impossible to differentiate
Okay.
which pieces of info he extracted from that. So I'm just for the sake of argument, I can agree with Irene and say Edwan probably figured out from Han Sung Yu.
Okay. That makes sense. All right. And like Irene said in the chat too, I actually attribute Jahad literally being like, "Oh no, I killed you already. I know those golden eyes," because he's obsessed with Arlene. That's what I attribute it to. I actually don't think a lot of family heads would look at Bam and immediately be like, "Oh, you're V's kid or Arlene's kid," unless he really looks like them. I don't know if that's. I know sometimes you could tell someone's kid, but you don't always know like just like that. So I'm not sure.
Well, also they've been alive so long.
Yeah.
You know how it is.
Yeah.
Okay, these would be my pushbacks for these two things,
No, go
right?
ahead.
I'm going to give a hypothetical and I'm going to give an in canon thing.
Hmm.
Traumerei was able to even remember Yama.
But you have to think about
And
it.
Traumerei's yeah, true, but he wasn't given really much of any information at that time frame. And from the little piece of hearing the name, he was able to recollect centuries or thousands of years of info to remember who this baby was, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when I'm looking at these guys they really only consider each other. It's a group of 13 people that they're the only ones that consider each other like actual true humans. They're the only ones that consider themselves of their level. Even though Arlene and V left and they have these things of hate or disgust or betrayal, there's no way any of them would disregard the strength and status that they still always possessed, right?
Okay.
So like I would still think that anything pertaining to them would be important. And like when we're looking at the band thing, I think the appearance is important because I'm gonna say, let's reverse the scenario, right? Let's say Eduan replaces like V and Arlene's, and he's the one that betrayed and he's killed, and Kuhn is like an irregular that came outside the tower. I would think it. I would think it would be exceptionally weird if Kuhn was going through the tower and they said, "This kid looks like Eduan, but like he's probably not his kid." Like stuff like that would blow my mind. Like the genes of these irregulars are so strong and prevalent. I would just have a hard time like of these guys not being able to pick out the smallest features in these kids, especially when they're already like relatively not obsessed with each other, but like have a strong understanding and mutual respect of each other.
I don't think that's a bad point. It's just that like people don't even know who Urek is, and he's like number 4. They're just like unserious in the tower all the time, you know.
But again,
Like,
but those are also from trash people, right? The trash people are going to be the same as
Listen,
those above.
if
Because
if the conceivable 4th strongest person, I need to know who he looks like. Oh, he looks like. They're dumb.
and then I'm going to say
Go
this
ahead.
to Irene. You might not recognize if Edwan had only one child, but like Kuhn is a genuine splitting image of Edwan. Like unironically.
What do you think, Vince?
I get where Miles is coming from. I can't really tell you because the level of inconsistency with evaluating who people are in the tower is just so huge that it literally could go either way. And also, the hidden floor honestly is not totally the best
Nara phone
evaluation
him. There you go.
because the hidden floor, it's their data cells that that's somehow connected to the real cells, but still completely different group of people. Like so, it makes it all kind of hard. I wouldn't be surprised either way. Like obviously, I don't think Traumerei seems like to me. He seems like one of the people that didn't have the same level. Let's just say it like this. Hypothetically speaking, if I put in a whole my own headcanon little thing real quick, I think if there was a group of 5 that were close, it was Eduan, Eurasia, Gustang, um, Arihan, and Jahad. So I feel like all 5 of them should all 5 of them for sure should automatically know who Baam is. Then you can add in like Yuri Had and a couple other ones, but Traumerei feels like kind of one of those ones. Him and like Blood Matter and stuff like that feel like they would be kind of like the closest to being on the opposite end of the spectrum as far as being like not super close necessarily. But that's just like I said, that's kind of a headcanon thing, so I wouldn't be surprised either way if he didn't know a ton.
Okay.
He seems kind of aloof and kind of distant, so he might have not really cared to learn the details, to be honest. But I also wouldn't be surprised because this is the same guy who went and asked everybody their opinion on the matter, so he could have did his due diligence. I wouldn't be surprised either way.
Okay. Hansung told him about it. Oh yeah. Said after centuries, we're the loser. Love is eternal. But now, how does Gustang know? I think Garam. I think he's seen the pocket. I think that's how he knows. I think because of his connection to the souls in the floor of death and him creating that guardian on the floor of death. I think that he knows through Garam and Arlene's pocket. That's my best guess. But Gustang is also, in my opinion, the most intelligent character. Like I can't necessarily say he's like proved it on screen, but I would bet a lot of money that he's probably the smartest character we've seen so far. Though Shibisu and Aguero do impress me a lot of the time. So I just he figured out Shinsu was around them. Like the dude is different. I just think he has an elevated level of intellect. Why should the family heads connect Bam to the child of Arlene Veen? As far as they know, Bam existed. He'd be an in-tower habitant. That is actually something that I want to get to in a bit. So you're jumping the gun on my talking points. I'm gonna get there, Omar. Arlene shouldn't apply to every family head. Their family heads of the rock might recognize him, but if everyone only had one child, I heard you. You answered that. Most branch leaders and people haven't even seen Traumerei's face. Every other family head isn't as smart as Gustang is. Plus, I think he knew for a long time, considering how he's been maintaining that. See, I agree with that. Most flashbacks shown with the mask on, but you're 3 weeks behind? Dang. But in the tower of great technology, drawing the records of people, this should be. How Yuri could be walking around the tower and people be like, "What's up, Yuri? How you doing?" Yuri, they did say Yuri has a spinning image of her and stuff, but yeah, that's how I think Gustang knows too. I do think he's seen the pocket, and again, he's just kind of smarter. He's smart enough, and I think there's a part of me that wonders if him learning about Arlene and maybe the truth of what happened there is part of the reason why he opposes Jahad. But that's like super headcanon. I don't want to go crazy right now. So does anyone think the real life Eduan knows, by the way, or just a data version? Because I think it's just a data version. I just kind of threw him in there in brackets when I made the tweet just because the data version knew, and I don't know if there's any overlap. I couldn't remember how the memories and information flow necessarily worked. But does anyone think the real Eduan knows or not?
I think if Traumerei doesn't know, then I don't think a single one of them bar Jahad and Gustang know.
Okay, so are we all lock in step with only those 2 know, or do you think someone else knows?
I think it's like an all or nothing with the rest of the family heads.
Okay.
Erdogan's the only other one I can see knowing.
Okay.
I don't know his personality. We don't know enough about the current version of himself.
Lazaro brought up an interesting point too. I'm trying to remember what he was saying. Oh no, I remember. I liked what he had to say. Where he's like, he thinks one of the main reasons that maybe SIU, I guess, from a storytelling standpoint, decided not to kind of like have them know that is because Looselek is gonna be the one that relays that information to Bam to let him know about his lineage and what kind of people his parents were, so to make him kind of proud of F.U.G and want to kind of follow in their footsteps. So the reveal about like at least V, maybe not Arlene, is gonna come from Looselek, and that will be the push to make him kind of embrace F.U.G properly. And I think that makes a lot of sense, which is why it won't happen. But what do you guys think with that?
I
Well,
think it's
I
possible.
guess
I think it'd be cool. I think it'd be funny if Looselick comes and drops the bomb in front of Traumerei if he doesn't now. I think that'd be pretty funny, but you know.
Okay.
I think SIU with that has a prime chance to correct something for me, and that's the fact that if FUG is so unorganized and they don't seem to like ever be on the same page. But if Looselick comes and he tells Bam, then he basically SIU can kind of create the narrative or the excuse that I didn't really care about this organization until you got here. So none of this was gonna matter until you got here. Now we can focus on actually building it up the way in your image, the way you want it to be or whatever. Because you're gonna like this is basically your thing. All I was doing was gathering powerful members.
Mm.
So if something like that happens with it, I think that would be really good. I don't know if it will happen or not. I won't be disappointed if it doesn't because I'm just not even gonna like
Okay.
care. But I think, like I said, I think it's a golden opportunity to be like FUG was never like on the same page because we knew we couldn't do this until you got here, however long it took.
Okay. I
So
don't. I mean, it's not moving me, but it works. I think it'll move enough people. That would.
I just think
No,
that
I'm
like
saying
at least this
personally,
is
I'd be like,
reasonable.
but like I could see that. Like it's not egregious.
Right, because to me it's the only like semi-reasonable outcome. I still don't think it should happen like this, but with all like these high-level people seem to be, offline, off the grid all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Or shoot, he can even say something that initially I tried to keep it together, but it got too big and I didn't know what to do, so I just said, I didn't wait. I can see that too.
Okay.
That's the way old people in this tower treat everything. They kind of forget or just stop trying. So.
All right.
I was gonna say on the Eduan point earlier, the only reason why I would be reluctant to give Eduan even that props is because Kuhn made a specific point to tell Data Eduan, you are a completely different version of yourself to the point that I think you would be even scared of yourself. I think there's going to be, when we see him, there's going to be such a huge
He went
disconnect
from
of these
maiden
two
list to
characters.
maiden full. Yes, sir. The glow up.
Basically.
Don't know. My nigga Eduan in the building. Okay, but sorry.
Yeah, so I think the old young Data Kun that was welcome to like even not always agree with Jahad. I think he's probably a little bit more closer on Jahad's side. I think he's kind of like also corrupted in the same way Jahad did, even though it might not be in the same vein. Mm-hmm. So I would be reluctant to give him the grace of like having that info.
Okay.
So yeah, and then I was gonna say your point about the only reason I would be also I don't know about the Gustang is the only one that found out the info. That's why he would go to war, because then why would he not also tell specific family members that same info to get more people to overthrow Jahad? So I would think it's a separate issue altogether.
Oh, like why they're against each other?
Yeah, because I'm saying
fair.
like if that was the reason, why would he not get
because
more?
he went into the hidden floor to take whatever the Apple Watch was. With the treasure stealing Stingray. I just wonder. I guess I was wondering if that was an extra variable I didn't consider. Because in a weird way he is protecting that floor. So but I hear what you're saying. I'm glad that you're here, Verkans, because we're about to get to your talking point a little bit. Do you think it makes sense for Jahad to tell anybody now that he knows that Bam is alive? Wow. Hello?
No, I was thinking.
I don't like. I just don't like dead air on the stream like that. That's why. My bad. Keep going.
It would make sense, but also with Jahad's personality and who he is, And also, he might just think that, like, oh, he just might be so arrogant to think that I don't need to tell anybody because there's no way he's gonna make it up here.
Okay.
I don't know if he. I don't even. But the thing is, I don't think they believe that because there hasn't been a single irregular that hasn't succeeded. So I feel like that would be a weird thing to expect. Bam is going to be the first failure out of like 14. Like that makes no sense.
But he's the only one that's kind of like this complete though outlier though too. So
Is
like,
it?
well, think about it. The rest of them, from them to Inryu, right, before they climbed the tower, they all had combat experience. Or at least we think so. They definitely had
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
He's the only one that was literally a baby.
Yeah, but I mean,
Didn't
look
even
at
know
him
how to
now.
fight.
This man beat a top 100 person on like 450. I don't know.
Yeah, but they don't care about none of that, and they don't watch none of that. I mean, you see the way Jahad uses his army. They're the most disposable group I've ever seen in my life. Like, he doesn't care. His is just literally the army's literally just strength and numbers.
Omar, by the way, I agree with your point that probably if they know now, because and I mean, I think the question becomes like if the family heads did know about the child of Arlene and V, and the possible passing away, what's the narrative behind it? Did he lie? Was it a casualty war? Because I don't know why literally just saying, "Oh, the son of V and Arlene." Actually, I guess because they went against each other. I don't know. There's a lot of things I don't know, but I do think that them starting a civil war with what to do with Bam would make sense if they knew his identity to some degree. I think it makes sense. I also feel V. Hold on. I also feel V is the only one. Arlene doesn't share the same ideology of the tower inhabitants and the rest of the family heads. I think Barry's probably because the Fitbit that Gustang took, he learned that Gustang was going against him. Gustang has a lot of knowledge and is actively searching for the keys to go up. Eduan found Grace. That's. I don't know. I don't remember what the thing with Gustang asked Bam to collect on the hidden floor does. I don't know if we know what the Fitbit does or the Apple Watch. I just know he wanted it. Okay, sorry. Go ahead, Miles.
I was gonna say, yeah, I think the biggest issue is that we don't know the degree of like how much, like the VR lean thing of like how much others really hate them or not. That's like really what everything comes down to.
Yeah, that's that too. We don't know that because Gustang doesn't like V, but he's super cool with Arlene. And I wonder if anyone else has the opposite or doesn't like either or likes both. It's probably all over the place depending on who it is, right?
Yeah,
but then you gotta wonder
like,
what we did or told them to make him betray them all.
That's what I'm saying. It's so because it's like, oh, do you guys only hate them to a certain degree? Where like if Jahad told them they killed their child, would you guys be mad at Jahad or still mad at them? But then again, it's like they don't even like view their own kids as special. But then again, it's like it was between Arlene and V rather than them and like inhabitants of the tower. So is there a difference, right? Like I would be curious to think of like how they would think of like Ine because she's the child of two. Would they be like it's just a whole weird thing of like I don't know their morals yet. Like I have no full grasp of how they even look at things like this.
Dad the one seemed to like V, but like Miles said earlier, if Aguero was right, whoever Eduan is there is not who he is currently. So he's changed a lot. But I'm with you, Irene Sharda. I think that if the Kun family is naturally kind of conniving and cunning, and we've seen a lot of them be a little smart and devious, it's got to come from somewhere, right? So I do think that we're probably underestimating how smart Kun Eduan is. I believe that.
I'm not.
Well, I mean, I never actually thought about that point until just now. That's why. That's not because I'm like.
I said just because he's lazy and he just want to, do all day, don't mean he's not smart. He just means he can't be bothered to care about anything else.
I think all the family heads are probably really, really smart.
Well, yeah, they obviously.
Well, they have wisdom and knowledge of history and stuff, but I don't know if they're all smart. I wouldn't be surprised if Urine is a woman of action. Not that she's an idiot, but a more of a like I do more than I think.
If we're just.
I know
I think they all have
speculating
levels.
Obviously.
Yeah, I think they all have certain levels. But obviously it's not Gustang level intelligence.
Yeah. You
Because
can't miss
Gustang
those
is so
Andrew, man.
special, but that is it's because we're comparing them to Gustang. Gustang has a special level of intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
They're smart, but they're just not geniuses. He's a genius,
Mm-hmm.
prodigy, whatever else you want to call it. Different level. They're not none of that.
Traumerei's dumb. Oh shoot. Sorry.
No, you're good. Traumerei seems smart enough, but that don't mean he's gonna like put a quantum physics thing on the board. Like he's just like, oh, I know how to
I
figure
don't
stuff
know.
out.
He was maneuvering through the politics of the family pretty well.
But that's what I mean. He's not stupid.
Yeah.
Fair.
We're just so used to reading stories where some people are either really, really smart or really, really dumb. But
Yeah, no, we don't get average intelligence people.
he just seems like he's fine. He's like, I've been around the block for a while and kind of know how some things work. I know how this works.
Mm-hmm.
So it seems like to me.
TOD doesn't have a Twitter with Urek posting nudes every week. What's going on? He went up against Gustang. That's stupid. Oh, fair. I mean, I'm not mad at that. We'll see how it all ends up turning out, I guess. But okay. So,
Well, to be fair, he didn't want to Jahad Jahad set him up to go against him. It's not like Traumerei was said, "I'm going to go fight." What's his name? Jahad is one that said, "Traumerei, you're putting your family up against him." So that's on what's his name. And I don't think there's probably a reason for it to some degree. I would think.
okay. So
Yeah.
here's the thing. Here's the last part. I guess the last thing I want to ask, because I honestly didn't take this panel kind of at literal face value, but let's do it for fun because everyone in the chat did. Everyone in the chat was literally telling me who everyone's hands were in this panel here. When Traumerei was talking about, some said we should kill you, others said you should be protected, and some said, let me make this bigger because I can't see, some said we shouldn't bother someone climbing the tower according to the rules like you. I guess your presence in the tower has caused a rift among us. So, I think we can all assume the first hand is probably Gustang based on the first alpha we saw of him. Maybe I think.
Yes.
Because
I think so.
the gloves and stuff. I mean, probably know it's not him, but he's the only one we kind of seen. I think he had the white gloves on when we first saw him in the workshop. I could be wrong. I'm gonna check in a second, but he has the black ones now. The second hand seems to be the hand of a woman, so it can only be probably. So it's probably Eurasia, it's Urine. Is there the third one I'm forgetting? Or just them? I don't think it's Arlene. So.
Yeon.
Oh yes, Yeon Hannah.
other.
Thank you. So Eurasia, Yeon Hannah, and or Haigh-Rankers. A lot of people are saying because of the blue part here on the collar that this last one is Eduan. I don't know if you guys took this panel very literally or just thought it was just symbolic of people having different thoughts and stuff. But you think he actually drew their actual hands?
I just took it symbolically because I don't think Gustang would have offered to kill him. I think Gustang would have offered to be neutral.
Okay.
So that to me just signals I don't think any of them really are for each one.
I took it literal, but I didn't go over the top with it. I could definitely see a scenario where Gustang says Baam needs to be destroyed. He says he doesn't like V. Mm-hmm. He's helping Rachel. That's enough evidence I need for him to be like,
But he also really likes Arlene, and if he wanted to kill Baam, why would he just not Baam when he was on the floor?
But like I said, if we're going by that logic, half the things these people do in the tower don't make sense.
So by the way, I was right. When he's holding the little wine glass here, he has the white gloves on. So I'm pretty sure that first one is supposed to be polka dot Gustang. Sorry, keep going. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, but my thing is that I feel like trying to work too much off logic when you talk about Tower of God don't really work.
It doesn't.
Because if that was the case, they would do a lot of things on their own, and they just don't. I mean, look at Gustang. He's using Rachel for stuff. He's like, "Oh, go get this for me." Like, why can't he do any of that himself? He's an all-powerful, all-knowing monster, but he's playing people on the thing like chessboard. So would it be surprising for him to be like, well, the logical thing is that you should destroy Baam. Now, are you going to do it? That's up to you. But you should get rid of him. Probably won't, but you should.
Well, at least specifically on the floor of death, he couldn't get the one thing because what was it behind? It was behind something that he physically couldn't go through. Or no, it was because it was the hidden floor stuff and he couldn't go in because of the data that was already there. So that he actually couldn't do. But I understand the lazy aspect of it. So I can understand if it's they're on floor let's say 120 talking about this stuff, and it's like, do I feel like going all the way to 450 to kill this kid? No, not really, right? But like, it's a difference if they're physically in front of them, and like snapping of fingers would just cause everything to like to cease to exist. I think that wouldn't be like that big of a deal if he wanted to
Oh,
kill him because
but
in front of him, just
my
said God.
thing is giving advice to somebody and you actually thinking that is two different things to me. If you ask him what his opinion is, he could be like, you should get rid of him. That doesn't mean he wants to get rid of him, though.
That's true, actually.
That's fair. That is fair.
I do that all the time. I might give you an opinion that I don't. That's not necessarily like my literal thought process because it makes sense.
Yeah, because if you're asking Traumerei and they supposed to be on Jahad faction or whatever, what you guys should be doing is get rid of that kid. Now, I don't care. So whatever to you. Good luck. This don't got nothing to do with me, but you should get rid of him now before he possibly poses a threat to you or something else.
Do you guys want to give your list for who you think was for each one?
I mean, you already said, I think, all the ones that I thought it would. But like I said, I didn't think too hard about it because at the end of the day, it's just like, who knows? Like, is Bam going to go up to each leader now and they're going to be like, oh, I voted to destroy you. And the other one's like, oh, I'm voting to save you. Like, does it matter?
I want to make it clear that I don't think the hands are representative of what the thoughts processes were. I think they're just there to be like, I don't think so when it says somebody should kill you all, and if that is Gustang's hand, I don't think it necessarily means Gustang is the one that said that. Just to make that clear, I think the first hand's Gustang. I think the last hand is probably Aria Han. If you force me to pick somebody, and the middle one is, I don't know, it's one of the three bitches. I don't know. I think I'm gonna go with. I feel like Yeon. I don't know. Eurasia is the Chibi one. I think her hand will be smaller for some reason, so I'm not gonna go with there. I think it's
I would
either
agree with that.
It's Urine or
I think it's Urine
or what the hell, Yeon Hannah. I think it's one of those two. So, but yeah.
I would win Urine. So
yeah. But yeah. I don't know why I remember Urine having like red nails when I saw her lips for some reason. I just want a red motif. I don't know what the reason is, but but yeah. But I thought that was, interesting to talk about. I don't know if there's any final points to make. If you think it makes sense if any other of the family heads actually know secretly and is not saying anything for their own agenda, now is your time, or we can move on to the next section.
No, I don't have anything to say.
You guys are good here?
Yep.
Okay. I'm just going to see what the chat's saying, and then we'll move on to the other section. Trauma doesn't do much. It's probably easier for family heads to walk around low-key since no one knows their face, but if they get caught, it becomes an issue really quickly. If they get caught, who's catching them? Except for Ray, so lazy for that. Also, remember the meeting was probably really early when Bam appeared, because the way Ray tells the story was after a while the meeting Gustang decided to separate. Fair. Where are my mods at? Get this guy out of here. I'll do it.
Okay, I'm gonna be right back.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna ask you what the question is, and I get right back.
I'm waiting for you to reveal the master hand. Okay. Actually, Miles, you're gonna be in charge because I'm gonna tinkle real quick. Patreon gang. I want to say thank you to my certified Bam lovers. The Brilliant gang out here. Gotta say thank you to the Priest of Fire, but especially the Fifth Zen God. Shout out to Sunny Katapali, Simi, Shout Out to Your Body, Scobe, Revenant, Miles, Lucky Roo, Chris, Cayenne, Irene Sharda, Triss, David Langstaff, Childish Nujabes, Bloody Winters, Alan, and my boy Abdel. Your support is greatly appreciated. Thank you.